Pursuant to notice, I now call up H.R. 4490, the Providing Appropriate Recognition and Treatment Needed to Enhance Relations Act. The bill was circulated in advance, and the clerk shall designate the bill.
H.R. 4490 to amend the International Organizations Immunities Act to extend diplomatic
Without
privileges.
objection, the first reading is dispensed with, and the bill is considered read and open to amendment at any point. I recognize myself in support of this legislation. I support the Partner Act because it strengthens U.S. diplomatic engagement with key international and regional organizations at a time of growing global competition. The bill extends diplomatic privileges and immunities under the International Organizations and Immunities Act to a number of different groups: ASEAN, CERN, the Pacific Islands Forum, the Caribbean Community, and the African Union. Secretary Rubio has recently attended meetings with a number of these, the ASEAN Summit, where he reaffirmed his commitment to this important multilateral organization, and others. In doing so, it acknowledges these entities as legitimate counterparts to other international organizations that already receive such treatment under U.S. law. This step reflects a practical recognition of the growing roles in shaping regional security, economic development, and global coordination. I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting the Partner Act. Do any other members seek recognition? Ranking Member Meeks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I support this bill. Convention has been that in order to grant diplomatic privileges and immunities to an international organization where the United States is not a full voting member, Congress must act first. Extending the status to an international organization sends a crucial sign of respect and makes it much easier to work with them in simple ways, including to establish a physical presence in the United States with diplomatic status or enabling officials to travel here with diplomatic visas. Today, in advancing this bill, we act to strengthen our partnerships with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the Pacific Islands Forum, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, the Caribbean Community, and the African Union's mission of the United Nations. Every component of this bill is bipartisan. It represents a consolidation of 5 separate pieces of legislation to which have passed the House and previous Congresses. So I want to give a thank you to Mr. Castro for his tireless effort in this area. And this dates back to the 117th Congress and the original partner with the ASEAN Act, and acknowledge the many representatives from both sides of the aisle whose work is reflected in this product. I urge all members to support this legislation, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Further discussion? Representative Castro, I'm sorry, is further discussion over here? Sorry. Representative Self.
Mr. Chairman, most of these are nations that have diplomatic immunity through their embassies. The CERN is a different animal under this bill. I would certainly support the CERN getting this, visited with them on site recently, and I believe that they need it for the academic and scientific work. The rest of these are companies, and I have concerns about several of the nations themselves because, again, they have diplomatic immunity through their embassies. I have concerns about expanding this, and we could have a discussion on whether or not it actually weakens the embassy level by giving this them. So I will probably be a no on this simply because my concern for several of the nations. Thank you.
I thank the representative for voicing his concerns. Do any other members seek recognition? Oh, I'm sorry.
Sure. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Ranking Member Meeks, for bringing this up in today's agenda and for your support on advancing this legislation in a bipartisan manner. One of the measures here, of course, is a Partner Act, which would strengthen the U.S. diplomacy by extending privileges and immunities under the International Organizations Immunities Act to several key regional and international organizations. And I want to take a moment to explain why extending privileges and immunities to international organizations is so important and why we do it. These legal protections aren't perks or favors. They're standard tools that ensure international organizations can carry out their official functions effectively and independently. Privileges and immunities allow these institutions to operate without the threat of litigation, taxation, or other interference that could compromise their diplomatic or technical work. They don't shield individuals from accountability for private actions, but they do create the space for official work to be done without disruption. This is the same framework that protects U.S. diplomats and officials when we participate in international organizations abroad. It's part of the basic infrastructure of diplomacy around the world. Extending these privileges and immunities is not just symbolic, it would have meaningful benefits to U.S. diplomacy and engagement with these partners. Under U.S. law, the President is authorized to extend these privileges and immunities to international organizations that the United States is a member of, such as the United Nations or the Organization of American States. For organizations that the United States is not a member of, a specific act of Congress is required, as was done for the European Union and the African Union. This bill ensures we treat partners like ASEAN, CARICOM, the Pacific Islands Forum, and CERN with the same level of recognition and respect. And then finally, the Partner Act includes language from a number of different legislative efforts in the House and the Senate consolidated into one vehicle. And so I want to thank my colleagues, Representatives Young Kim, Ed Case, Dusty Johnson, Johnny O, Amada Coleman, Radowagan, Sheila Sherflus-McCormick, Maria Salazar, Bill Foster, Mike Lawler, and Bill Wizenga for their leadership and contributions to this effort. Also want to say that this bill has passed through the Senate Foreign Relations Committee just last month, and want to thank over there Senators Risch, Duckworth, and Cortez Masto and Ricketts for their efforts as well. With that, Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Representative Castro. Any other members seek recognition? Seeing none. Thank you. Being no further discussion of the bill, committee will move to consideration of amendments. Does any member wish to offer an amendment? Seeing none. I move the committee report H.R. 4490 to the House with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table, and staff is authorized to make any technical and conforming changes.